And I love this fight. I think this stylistically could be a real interesting matchup. It's going to be a challenge, though, because Nassourdine is so fast and so sharp with his striking. But, man, I want to see Israel back at the top. I think he's right in the fact that we kind of need him, right, to sell these fights. If he can get back into the mix with Strickland and Duplessis, these are fights that we want to see, especially if we can show some improvements, if he can show that he's really been working on some new things.
I'm not writing Izzy off. I'm not even picking against him right now. I'm just sharing with you, everybody that fights is fighting for something. There's some kind of a test every time. This is a unique test for Izzy. I've never seen him in this spot. Frankly, I don't love it. I'm just bringing it to your attention. When you get to the point of the fight where the athleticism is up, and now athleticism's up, and it all comes down to how bad do I want it here and here, what is he fighting for? I think that's a reasonable thing for me to ask.
I think Izzy controls it. I think this is one of those fights where he's kind of got the blueprint to beat these kind of guys. He's a faster striker. He's a more technical striker. He's been doing that for years. And, you know, kind of stopping the takedown, sprawling and brawling to simplify it. That's what he's built a career on.
Yeah, so, you know, for Imavov, I think he needs to fight very aggressively in this one. Sometimes he likes to hang back, and maybe that's because sometimes he fears the takedowns a little bit and looks to try to counter, slow the guy down, then kind of use his striking in the clincher from the outside. Now, I don't think he needs to worry about that here against Israel Adesanya, and vice versa as well. I don't think Adesanya necessarily has to be so concerned with the takedown game of Imavov. Izzy's got to use those long-range strikes, the leg kicks, the teeps of the body, the jab especially, to set everything up. And the big concern for me, even though I'm picking Izzy, I'll release that now, I am picking Izzy, is a city kickboxing. They all tend to do the same thing. They'll lean back with their chin up as they try to exit. We saw it with Volkanovski. He paid for it against Topuria. We saw it against Adesanya. Well, he paid for it in his last fight against DDP when he was getting hit with hooks and overhand shots. Those are the shots that you're going to open yourself up to.
Israel Adesanya makes his return, taking on Nassourdine Imavov. That goes down in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Israel Adesanya is going to be under a little bit of pressure in this one, okay? Because, listen, he lost to Dricus du Plessis. He lost to Sean Strickland. He wants to prove that he's still one of the best. And the reality is, he is still one of the best. Yeah, okay, he got choked out by Dricus du Plessis, but Dricus du Plessis is something special. Now, Nassourdine Imavov, very good, but I think Israel Adesanya probably gets back to winning ways, probably picks him apart, probably gets a finish.
He'll find himself in that 4th and 5th round with Imavov this weekend and have to dig deep, knowing that nothing changes if he doesn't, right? Nothing changes. Israel Adesanya will still be a star if he wins or he loses. Israel Adesanya will still collect the same paycheck on Saturday night if he loses. The money he has in the bank remains the same. All of his investment properties will remain the same. How does he pull back to that moment when he didn't have all those things, if need be? That honestly chills probably the most interesting thing in regards to the fight.
I'm going to go Izzy. I think Imavov gets tired too, and especially in 3-round fights. Imagine a 5-round fight. If he has to start wrestling as well, he's going to get really tired. Like, Izzy's used to guys trying to wrestle against him. I think Izzy's going to piece him up on the feet, and it's not going to be a super exciting fight, but I think Izzy's going to do what Izzy does. He lost his last couple fights, so he's probably, I follow him on YouTube and Instagram, and training hard,
training with Robert.
He's hungry. He put on some size. I think this is going to be like his, like, yo, like, fuck you guys, I'm still here.
Must have forgot.
For me, I just, again, I feel fresh. I'm trying new shit in the gym, and again, okay, I'll give you a little secret. There's a certain mentality when you're undefeated, you're killing everyone, and then when you've had, like, you know, one loss, another loss, and it's in 2 different styles, and you're like, okay, at least the worst part's over in my head. Now I can just, like, who cares? I don't care. Just enjoy this fight. It's gonna be fun. Like, all this is fun, talking, whatnot, but the fun part of this fight, because I don't think Imavov's gonna say anything. He seems pretty cool, pretty respectful. So yeah, fun part's gonna be in the cage.
It's so hard for me to bet against Adesanya in just about any matchup. I think his spacing, his control of the space, the way he utilizes his counters, his aggressive fighting, his pressure with his length, his feints. make him very hard to take down. And if you're not taking him down, you're having like a long night in the office. Okay. Now, understandably, he lost against Dricus last fight, but I think he turned up phenomenally for that fight. I think his striking was on point, crystal clear. Dricus is just tough as shit, dude. Like, yeah, man, he's tough as hell. Okay, and honestly, in the round that he beat Izzy in, I thought he was going to die at the beginning of it. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? He's a special dude, man. Like, he's got such a unique style. So I don't think it's too much of a negative for Adesanya. If we see that Adesanya turn up against Imavov, I think we see a very it's going to be a good night for him in the office.
I don't know if Imavov is strong enough of a wrestler to take Izzy down, but at the same time, okay, so like this is weird for me because I'm not a big Izzy fan, and I'm gonna say it's not even that against Izzy. I'm not a big fan of championship wrestling. I don't like championship Izzy. I don't. So I think when people win belts, they start fighting to defend the belt. Except unless you're Dricus, who just fights like a fucking poked out chimpanzee at all times. But everyone outside of Dricus apparently. But I think when people win belts, they start fighting to defend belts. So I always feel like Izzy having a belt versus Izzy not having the belt are very different fighters. But like I think you become too upset. I think you become too obsessed with like A, trying to look like a champion, and B, just trying to retain the belt. Like it's style-wise, I really think non-belt, like Challenger Izzy was a much better fighter. So I'm kind of interested to see like Challenger Izzy. I like Challenger Izzy a lot more. I think he wanted to win a lot more. He wanted to stop his opponent a lot more. He took more risk. He was a more aggressive fighter.
Definitely, this would be the biggest fight of his life. It'll be the biggest stage he's, been a part of yet. I know what I do. Like, I've been here many times. It doesn't faze me too much. I don't think it'll faze him too much until he's in there with me, that it feels different. But yeah, they all prepare for me, and they'll all still be calling me out, even though I've been chilling for a while. I still get call outs, and that just shows you, the level of the name that I bring to this.
But what I think is really happening here is they're trying to see what they've got with Imavov as he surges into his prime. Everyone who's been fighting up to this point has been fighting him pre-prime. Well, now he's entering into it. And additionally, it's a very, very interesting style clash. This is another one of those fights. Who's coming? Who's going?
Indeed.
Who's got the future? Who's the past? Or in the case of Imavov, if he loses, I'm not going to say he'll never be anything, but it would be a detriment to any kind of future implication. So you get the idea. Are the older guys going to dig their heels in and not let the upstarts really take over? A fight like this is going to go a long way towards answering that.
That's no lie. He's absolutely looking in incredible shape. So really looking forward to this weekend. I think the Israel Adesanya that you've seen for many years is going to be out there and maybe and some more on top of that. He is looking strong, so I cannot wait for it. So I'm going to go with the favourite on this one, Israel Adesanya, to take out the main event over there in Saudi Arabia.
I like what Izzy's saying, like as far as like watching on social media, and I like where his mind seems to be at. But I would love to see if he still has that doggish edge that we seen in the Calvin Gastelum fight. He has been working jiu-jitsu. His jiu-jitsu game is much better than people give credit for. He's been working that game to take away, honestly, the clearest path to victory for Imavov. And if that kind of takedown grappling game is negated, I don't see him losing in the hands.
I would say Imavov's probably got the best striking on the feet in the middleweight division. He's on the top tier of it as far as striking, like boxing, pure boxing. Okay. But Israel obviously has proven that he is probably one of the, if not the best, middleweight of all time. I think Israel's going to win. I think he's got more tools. I think his kicks are going to play a factor. I don't think Nassourdine will be able to get him down, and I think he'll just kind of stay on the outside. I'm gonna go with the guy who's had more 5-round fights and has beat the stiffer competition.